Welcome to Spiritism Explored and Explained, where we take you on a journey of discovery of the other side, the spirit realm, the universe from which you came and shall return. Reincarnation. How do you plan your body, what you're going to look like, and your trials? Choosing your physical body is more difficult than it seems. You know that imperfect nose of yours? Well, you determined not to have the latest fashion in noses. How do we know that? In the book Missionaries of the Light, psychographed by Francisco Chico C. Xavier, inspired by the spirit Andre Louise, a woman who is actively planning her trials for the next life, talks about her reasoning. This is what she said. I have been advised by benefactors here that I should avoid re-entering Earth with flawless body lines. If I do avoid it, I might have a better success in the task I am planning. I would be grateful if the thyroid and the parathyroid glands were not so perfectly outlined. As you know, my task will not be easy. I need to recapture a large spiritual heritage. I must avoid any possibility of failure, and perfect physical harmony would get in the way of my goals. Then Andre Luis and his friend looked at her, and they looked at each other and said to her, "You're right. Physical seductiveness is a real danger, not only for those who radiate its influence, but also for those who are subjected to it." "Yes," she said, "I would prefer an unattractive body. If I am not interested in a body like Venus, I am interested in the redemption of my spirit for eternity." What did she tell us? She told us that for those of you who don't care for your body, think hard about what other matters you should be concentrating on, rather than focusing on your vanity. You, most probably, picked the model you are in for a reason. One would also ask, what about DNA we inherit from our parents? Doesn't that lay the foundation of our form? Andre Louis asked the same question. He said, what about the law of heredity? His mentor answered him. This is what he said. It works with inalienable control upon all evolving beings, but of course it is subject to the influence of those who attain qualities that are superior to the general environment. Furthermore, when individuals interested in new experiences in the physical realm are deserving of intercessory services, the higher powers can impress certain modifications on matter from the embryological development onward if they determine that alterations are needed for the work of redemption. First, we must start with what our parents offer us. Next, our own paraspirit, that parts of us which envelops our intended body, will affect our germination while we are in the womb. Lastly, the spirit world is able to perform minute surgery or modifications on our DNA to alter our appearance and innate abilities. Not only do we determine the complete diagram of our bodies, but we also plan in advance afflictions that could await us. Andre talks to a spirit who works in the Reincarnation Planning Center in the heavenly city No Solar. He points out the extent of our future planning. This is what the person said. Here is the plan for the future reincarnation of a friend of mine. Do you see some dark spots from the descending colon in the sigmoid loop? This indicates that he will suffer from a large ulcer in this area as soon as he becomes an adult. Nevertheless, he has chosen it. The man chose that ulcer at a later point in life is because in the past life he had stabbed another person in that exact spot. Now, how do we plan our trials? Our body is but one consideration for our next life. We must also plan the trials, the events that push us forward in our exploration of knowledge. There is an example of a suicide in the book Memoirs of a Suicide. His name was Geronimo. He defrauded his business associates, lost all of his money, and fled the situation he created by taking his own life. He left behind a wife, a son, and 3 daughters, all left destitute. Geronimo tells his friends about his plans for the next life. This is what he said. "I won't be able to have children. By not looking after my family, by rejecting halfway through the honorable responsibility of being head of the household in order to help me ascend in merit, I put myself in the wretched position of not being granted the chance of building a family and being a father again in my next existence. However, in order to mitigate my ugly behavior towards my wife and my children, I have promised Mother Mary, the sublime mother of my Redeemer, whose material solicitude rehabilitated my wife and child, to employ all efforts to assist orphan children, to somehow build shelters for them and to become their guardian, as if they were my own." Geronimo tells us he planned his family life to compensate for what he did in his previous life. He also planned his financial status in his next life. His friends expressed happiness in his helping orphans, but they are worried if he'll have the financial resources to follow through. He informs them that at first he will be rich, born into a wealthy family. Next he says, may heaven allow it, indeed, my friend, because before or after the financial ruin that awaits me during my expiatory existence, I shall have become the supporter of many, many orphans. From what he said, notice how each of his major failings he will have to redeem himself in one way or another. Once again he shall recognize the despair of bankruptcy and the complete withdrawal of all his old friends. He shall deeply feel the pull of suicide, but if he wishes to be victorious in his new life, he'll have to resist that urge with all his faculties. Our life is laid out in great detail. We don't have the freedom to not participate in our trials. Our freedom lies in our response to events. Therefore, it is better to attack life with an attitude of a child, with an open mind and an acceptance of all that occurs. It behooves us to learn from each hurdle, gain wisdom, and internalize how this understanding will carry us through multiple lives as we ascend as a spirit. If you'd like to learn more about reincarnation, read my book, The Case for Reincarnation, Your Path to Perfection. It will explain to you all the facets about how we plan our body, our trials, what we go through while we are in the spirit world, awaiting our next incarnation, how we reincarnate with family groups. Also read my book, The 7 Tenets of Spiritism, how they impact your daily life. It will tell you the signs and signals of how you are guided by spirits in your life every day, how you can start recognizing the little signs, the little signals that spirits are guiding you. Every person here on earth, the spirit world wants us all to be victorious. They want all of us to go through whatever wonderful events or terrible events, dramatic events. They want us to go through those and learn from what we are experiencing. They want us to learn from what we are experiencing. Please take your time, explore Spiritism. Go to my blog, nwspiritism.com. Subscribe to this channel. Understand why you're on earth, why you're going through the things you're going through. God bless.